My dad fined me every time I cried after my little sister disappeared. I was 11 when my 6-year-old sister Ava vanished from a Walmart parking lot in Nebraska. One second she was beside me holding a Happy Meal toy. The next, she was gone. No scream, no struggle, just empty space where my sister used to be. Police searched for months, then the town moved on. My dad never did. He decided losing Ava was my fault. The night police officially suspended the case, Dad taped a sheet of paper to the fridge titled Cost of Negligence. Under it, he listed every expense: private investigators, therapy bills, gas money. At the bottom, written in black marker, Ethan's debt. Then he started charging me. Forgot chores? He added interest. Bad grade? Ava would have done better. Every birthday became the anniversary of what you took from this family. My mom never stopped him. She looked emotionally checked out most of the time. Dad became obsessed with accountability. He installed cameras and made spreadsheets tracking my behavior. Sometimes he'd wake me up at 2 a.m. and force me to repeat the parking lot story. Where was she standing? Why didn't you notice sooner? If one detail changed because I was tired, he'd look at me like I was confessing to something. By 15, Dad created the jar. $5 every time I cried. 10 for disrespect. 20 if I raised my voice. He called it consequence training. One afternoon, 3 guys jumped me in the locker room because everyone knew me as the kid who lost his sister. I came home bleeding through my shirt. Dad glanced at my split lip and bruised ribs and said, "Imagine how Ava felt." Then he pointed at the jar. That was the last time I cried in front of anyone. At 17, I got a full engineering scholarship in Colorado. Dad said, "So now you're abandoning this family too?" I almost stayed. When somebody spends years treating you like poison, eventually you believe everyone's safer without you. But the morning I left, Mom slipped $600 into my backpack and whispered, "Run." It was the first time she'd protected me in years. College changed me fast. For the first time, nobody looked at me like a monster. Then during sophomore year, a detective called. They found Ava, alive, 15 years old, 3 states away. She'd been kidnapped by a woman connected to a trafficking ring. I dropped my phone, then threw up in my sink. For years, part of me wondered if Dad was right, but I was 11, just a kid. The reunion terrified me, but the second Ava saw me, she ran straight into my arms and whispered, "Dad still blames you, doesn't he?" After everything she survived, she already knew. When we got home, things inside the house turned ugly fast. Dad kept trying to control Ava's story, correcting interviews and checking her phone. One night, Ava finally asked him, "Why did you spend 10 years punishing Ethan instead of loving the kid you still had left?" Dad snapped, screaming that she was the reason the family got destroyed. Ava stared at him for a second, then quietly asked, "Did you ever actually miss me, or did you just miss having someone to blame?" A week later, Ava found the jar hidden in his closet, still full of folded bills. She dumped the money across the kitchen table. "You charged your son for grieving me?" Dad muttered something about making me stronger. Ava looked him dead in the face. "No, you just needed somebody else to hurt because you couldn't survive hurting alone." I flew back to Colorado 2 days later. Ava and I text almost every day now. Dad and I barely speak. Last month, he mailed me an envelope with every dollar from the jar and a note that said, "You were never the one I was angry at."